Hello, everybody, and welcome to our channel. Today we are live.
Yes.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. It is great to be here after a while, and I hope you all are doing well. Today we're going to be having an amazing conversation, but before we dive into the conversation, I think it's great for us to introduce ourselves and let get the viewers, especially those who are joining us for the first time, who haven't met us, to get to know us. So my name is Amara.
And my name is Gospel.
And together we co-host on Relationship Builders Forum, which is our channel. We talk a lot about love. We love to talk about sex. We talk about relationship. And we look at empowering singles and married. And if you're single here, this topic I think would be something that will resonate with you. And I hope you're looking forward to this amazing conversation. And let me say, if you're also married and you're joining us for the first time on a live show like this, I want to tell you that we've got loads of information on our YouTube channel, and we know that this would be valuable to you. We want to warmly welcome every single one of you, and you guys are the reason why we do what we do. Right? We love to talk about these things because a lot of times people go out there and prepare themselves to get a job, prepare themselves for a career of their choice. However, a lot of people are not so prepared for relationship. And it is really important that we prepare ourselves for love.
Definitely. I think what we are discussing today is about love, and it doesn't only affect those who want to be in a relationship. I would say to you that even those who are already in a relationship will find this content valuable. And obviously, you might know one or two persons who are looking for love, who want to be in a loving and beautiful relationship. You can as well bring them on, share this content with them. You can invite them to engage in this conversation. It's going to be very wonderful,
Amazing, amazing.
Definitely.
So without further ado, we'll just dive right into the topic for today. And I feel it's really important for us to showcase. So today we want to talk about help, I'm in love. Help, I'm in love. Help, I'm in love. Well, I don't know. It kind of sounds like desperation, like help, I'm in love, right?
Yeah.
But I know there's some people that are really in this situation right now, and that's something we want to talk about. So
Definitely.
the issues around love, and how do we navigate this? Amazing. It's intricate, but it's amazing. It's amazing.
Maybe I should ask you, have you ever been in a state where you felt I'm in love, but do I need help? I really need help. You felt like crying out, asking someone, maybe someone out there could have the answers to the questions I have. Oh, can someone help me out?
Well, I think, there are points in love where, you kind of get into that zone where your emotions, kind of take a better side of you, and you're trying to figure out a lot. You're trying to figure out a lot, especially if you think about how you define love and, what love means to you. And sometimes people would view that relationship through the paradigm of their preconceived notion of love. And that could be intricate. It could be confusing for some people. And I think that's the first place that we're going to start with today.
Obviously, because there are some singles out there who feel they are actually in love, but they're a bit confused. Even when you're sure that this is love, there are questions on your mind. We keep getting these questions from our single audience, those in our network. They keep saying, please, I need an answer. I'm in love with this person, but I'm not sure of this. I'm not sure of that. What would be the reason for this or that? So we've looked at some of the key questions that single people out there are asking when it has to do with love in a relationship. We might not be able to deal with all of them, and we're thinking, okay, we can start from somewhere.
Absolutely.
Which for us are the key questions we've been receiving. Maybe you're listening and you have a question. You can as well put it in the comment section. We'll be happy to answer your question, okay? Any question at all that we might not have the perfect answer, but we'll try our best to, engage and share our thoughts. Maybe you can also share your views, response to whatever question you want to ask or respond to.
Absolutely. And I want to say, if you're just joining us, please let us know where you're watching from. It would be great, in a virtual space like this. Sometimes you feel like I'm a bit isolated, right? but it would be great to know if you can just pop on the comment section. Let us know where you're dialing in from, and a little bit about yourself. If you're single, just let us know. Shout out to every single person right now on the call, and also the married people.
Definitely.
It's great to be here. Now, I think it will be great for us to start from having a definition of love, because if we are going to talk about love, it is really important that we contextualize the concept of love. Now, it sounds really complicated, but it's not that complicated, right? So the concept of love, what does love really mean? Because love could mean different things to different people, right?
Definitely.
So it is really important that we contextualize it. Yeah. And by the way, we want to welcome our favorite fans, Foundation for Family Affairs. You're warmly welcome. Thanks for joining. Okay, so what is love?
Oh, what is love? I'm in love. And you're asking me, what does that mean? I can look at love from different contexts. One, some people will tell you that love is this feeling, this erotic feeling that they have about someone, this emotional feeling they have that they don't even know how to describe it. It's so amazing, it's so overwhelming, something like magic that comes on
Takes
them.
over them.
They lose their sense of reasoning, and they just want to fly with this person, and elope with this person and spend the rest of their lives with this person. And my son will always say, and live forever
Happily ever after. Yeah.
When he has read a novel or something like that. But I would say to you, from personal experience and from reading and from observation, I'll tell you for a fact that love is the commitment you make to someone else, the commitment to be the best version of yourself and to do the best for this person. Even though it's a commitment, that sense of commitment can also be expressed through feelings, because you don't just feel dried when you're committed to someone. So you have that feeling, but the difference here is that that feeling may not be there constantly. You keep fanning that flame of that feeling. But the key point, the foundational element of love, when we talk about relationship, is your commitment to be with someone, to be the best for the person, to be kind, to do whatever you can to make the life of this person better and better.
Let me also add here that love is a choice, right? We choose to love someone and we stick with that person. Like you said, feelings come and go, because some people say, oh, I feel gooey inside. I feel smushy inside. I feel, I don't know how
Butterfly
I feel. I feel, butterflies. It's good, because that's like the first sort of whoosh for love. But love is beyond the feeling. It's beyond, the gooey feeling, the emotions and all of those things. Love is a choice. Love is a decision that you make to stick with someone for life, right? And that's what love is all about. And of course, we don't want to go into the definition of all the different types of love. Of course, you guys know where we are contextualizing. We're looking at love in the context of a romantic relationship.
And you say romantic or intimate?
Intimate. Okay, definitely. Let me use the word intimate, right? Because people can yeah, so we're looking at it in the context of an intimate relationship. Yeah. So a lot of us out there, really, really important that we contextualize this. And I want to welcome you all. Okay, thank you all for joining. Deborah, it's great to see you as well. So thanks for joining in. So let's just dive right into the conversation today, and let's look at the questions that are coming in. So this is pretty much fluid sort of conversation. We're going to be looking at certain questions, like my husband has said. And please, if you have any questions, please engage with us. We don't want to feel like we're speaking to ourselves. We want to feel like we've got an audience that is engaging and that what we're saying resonates with you. And even if it doesn't, feel free to let us know as well. Okay, so the very first question that we want to talk about today, and this is the question that we received from one of our audience, is, I am in love, but I am not sure if this love is going to last. Okay, and it says, how do I know if I'm in love or if it's a feeling of infatuation? So basically that is the first question. Okay, and please, some of you are listening in, right, as well. Just let us know what your thoughts are. Or we'll try to talk about it. So I am in love, but I'm not sure if this love will last. So this kind of speaks to a point where this individual is like, oh, this relationship, I'm not sure where it's going.
Yeah, I think there are two questions there. Maybe we'll take the first one.
First part, yeah.
The first one is, you're in love, but you're not sure if it's going to last. I think if you are in love and you have clearly identify that this is love, you have made that choice, like you said, and you're committed to it. One thing you have to know is that what makes a relationship last, as long as it lasts, are the two individuals involved. So if both of you are committed to making that relationship last, it is going to last. So it depends, we'll put it back to you. It depends on you and how far you're willing to go. And if you're thinking of love, maybe you need to change your mindset around the definition of love, because the reason you're thinking I'm not sure it's going to last is possibly you're looking at love from the point of feeling, just like we've seen in movies, just like we've seen in the life of so many celebrities, where they define love as this passionate feeling they have for the other person, and when that feeling is gone, they tell you the love is gone, we can't stay together because we can't love again. No, it's not like that. The feeling is gone, but you can also stay in love and rekindle the feeling. We have experts who talk about how to rekindle the feeling. We do that as well. And Foundation for Family Affairs, they are here.
Absolutely.
They can also, tell you how you can
keep that love,
keep that feeling if it's feeling. Just like we have people who are in a relationship where you meet a lady as a man and you feel that love for the person, you do certain things to ensure that that love is consistent. You give gifts, you take the person by surprise, doing little things that would encourage the person to stay with you and to keep being committed to you. So that's the first part. I don't know if you have anything.
No, I want to say it's not just about giving gifts. Because
I just use that as an
example. Because sometimes people go into a relationship expecting to get, expecting to receive. But sometimes we could be disappointed if that's, of course, as humans, you expect that if you give something, you get it back. But when you actually going into a relationship, from our own understanding of what love is you coming into the relationship to give, to bring your best self, to bring value into that relationship. And you know what? Sometimes you can inspire somebody to do the same. But do not go in with a notion that, look, I'm going to get back. I know it might sound really like, whoa, why am I saying this? Because this is the reason why a lot of people get into a relationship and then down the line they feel, oh, I'm not supposed to be in this relationship. But trust me, if two individuals have the mentality of coming into the relationship to give 100%, you guys will be competing on outgiving yourselves. That's the thing. Okay. So love is a beautiful thing, but how we perceive love, or our perception, our mentality about love, could really get it all twisted.
Yeah.
So it's really important that I state that.
Obviously, what you are saying is that if the two people come in and they are willing to give 100%, the relationship is going to last for a very long time.
Yeah,
as long as they live, which is what the first question is about. And the second question is about, is this infatuation or is it love? How do you know the difference between love and infatuation?
Yeah, but before we go on to that second question, one of the things I also wanted to touch on in terms of love, apart from having the feeling, because feeling is a combination of that. Of course, you love somebody, you feel something for that person. But let me state that love is deep. Love is beyond the surface, sort of feeling that we've just described. It's very deep. It's an enduring emotional connection between two people, and this is based on mutual trust and respect. Sometimes you love someone, but you cannot deeply get committed and connected to that person without that sense of you having respect, trust, and affection for that individual. It is your willingness. You decide. Like, that's why I said love is a choice. It's your willingness. It's your decision to decide to love that person, regardless of whoever that person is. And this is not just for a short term, it's for the long haul. Really, really important that we see that. And you're working with that person, you're loving that person to overcome challenges. You're not working with that person or loving that person because it's all good now. And then when it's all bad, oh, sorry, I'm no longer in love, I'm out the door. Love is characterized by you being selfless to that individual. Selflessly giving yourself, selflessly, bringing your best, selflessly bringing the best version of yourself into that relationship. So you are actually committed to keeping this person happy. you're committed to ensuring that this person is fulfilled, although it's not 100%, but this is what you decide to bring into that relationship. And it's you really appreciating deeply this person and what this person stands for. Really, really important. And I thought I needed to clear that. And you accepting that person regardless of who they are. Okay. So when you make that decision, you have to stick with it. And that's what love is.
Yeah, that's what love is, and that's what it takes to make a relationship last for a lifetime. It's the same with us, you know. We can't say, oh, I'm not sure how long this relationship is going to last. We are in it for life, and we believe it's going to last for life. And that's why we deliberately, intentionally do certain things, just the things you mentioned, being selfless, being, you know, intentional, being committed to it, you know, being respectful, mutual, and all of the things you said. We do those things to ensure that this relationship would last
even
for a long
committed to
time.
grow.
Yeah, definitely. There's so much to it, you know. But I also want to point out that if one person is in it, you've given so much and you're 100% prepared to make it work, and the other party is not in it, no matter how much you love, no matter how committed you are, it's not going to work.
It's
because
difficult,
because it takes two to tango. You can't do that dance alone. You need mutual commitment on the part of your partner to make it work. And if you look at it, that is why we're even doing this today. You look at it that it's not really clicking.
Yeah.
You've tried your best, you've given it time, and it's not clicking. I would say to you, review it, have a reflection, and think about what do you want to do next. And one of the things you can do is to step away from it, because you don't have to live in a frustrated relationship that is going nowhere.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
So please let me know. I know there are a couple of comments actually. There are a couple of comments on the chat. I think Foundation of Family Affairs is saying, when we regularly ask ourselves this question, what can I do today to put a smile on his or her face? You know, we would be creating an atmosphere that would nurture love. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
and I totally agree. That's a valid point that you've made there. So it's about you being deliberate, really. You cannot love in isolation. Because some people say, you know, I can love, you know, you cannot just love in absentia. You have to be in it. You have to be committed. You have to be intentional about growing that love, about tending that love and taking care of it. I think there was a part 2 of that question, and that speaks to infatuation.
You want to take that on?
Well, yeah, I think we kind of touched on it earlier, but let me just state it because some people might be joining us, maybe they didn't follow from the start. So infatuation is like that strong, you have this intense, you know, attraction for the individual. And all my single people know what I'm talking about. You know, you kind of like feeling that sort of, maybe it could be based on the appearance. You're like, oh, this guy is tall, slim, this lady is lovely. She's got the right curves in the right place and all of those sort of things. So it's more about the superficial, right? And that's, you can say, oh, this person is infatuated. It could be as a result of external things. It could be also as a result of someone's, you know, social status, you know, or maybe this person is very popular, you know, in certain circles, and you feel, oh, I think I'm feeling something. You're not feeling something. You're only feeling it because you feel that this person has got, you just kind of have an attraction for this person, not necessarily that you love this individual. So infatuation, I would say, is pretty much superficial. And it's not deep. Like I said, love is deep. And when you look at infatuation, most times is you having that strong desire, and you might in some instances want to receive validation from this other individual. And I would say it's infatuated because infatuation is pretty much you being self-centered.
Yeah, definitely. I wanted to say that because the angle around infatuation is about what you're going to get, what you're looking for. It's not necessarily you coming to give. And it's also short-lived because it's centered around feeling how I feel. And if you see people who are infatuated, they don't talk about deep things. Their communication or their conversation is around how I'm going to make you feel, how I'm going to ravish you, and all of those, the physical element of the relationship. And they don't talk about things that obviously you will expect people who are ready to make a long-term commitment to talk about. Things around maybe areas of limitations. How do you manage finance? How do you manage your emotions when you're angry? You know,
tough questions.
They avoid the tough questions. That's how you know that this is not genuine. Even when the flaws are there, you could see the red signs.
I think they just ignore it.
Sometimes
when you're infatuated, you don't see it.
Sometimes they don't want to see it, even though it's clear on their faces. And they avoid to deal with those issues. You know, trust me, it's not going to last for a long time. If you build your relationship on infatuation, on physical attraction, is not the right foundation for a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
That's why if you make a permanent decision on that, you will get to that point where you feel the love is gone.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Absolutely. And I think infatuation, when you're infatuated, you're impulsive, constantly trying to make a decision based on the rush of emotions,
chemistry, and all
the chemistry that you're feeling at the time. So it's not deep, and it could fade easily. So I would say that, you know, your love should not be centered on that sort of attraction or something that is short-lived. You should be able to allow your love to stand the tests of time.
And to bring the balance here, it doesn't also mean that infatuation is a bad thing. Because if you are really committed to a relationship, you could have that. It could start
attraction.
With attraction.
Absolutely.
You feel the rush and all of those, but you have to get to that point where you look at it clearly to say, what are we doing? What's this feeling? Beyond the feeling, what am I
do we
really?
Have some substance?
Yes. Am I really? Do I know this person to make a lifetime commitment? Because you need to know the object of your love. Do I trust this person? Can I trust him? Do we have any level of compatibility in terms of character? Can I spend the rest of my life with this person? Yeah. And you're sure of what you're doing? Have we gone through the tests of this love to be sure that this is really love and not just how we feel? Until that happens, you don't have to make a commitment.
Yeah. So let me say in summary, love is usually something that you do towards a long-term commitment. However, infatuation is short-lived.
Yes.
It's short-lived. So I don't know if there are any comments. I'll just have to look at the chat to see if there are any comments from our audience, maybe based on what we have just discussed. Really, really important that that question was cleared up. Okay, so I will just hold on. And if there are comments, please just keep them coming. Keep them coming, please. We'll take the second question. And the second question is, he said he loves me, but he is cheating on me. Does he really love me? Wow. That was another question that we received. And we felt that it is really important that we tackle this question. Because I think that there are people who are in a situation like this where they're kind of grappling with their response, or how do I deal with this situation, because it's not clear. If this person says he's with me, why is he not committed to this relationship?
Yeah, I think we can answer that question for both sexes. We can say it could apply to a man, it could apply to a woman.
Absolutely.
But yes, if someone loves you, is the person, and the person cheating on you, does the person really love you?
And when we say cheating here, because sometimes people look at cheating as, you know, the whole physical cheating.
I actually wanted to go into that, because let's even look at cheating. Physical cheating is one, emotional cheating is another, where we did a video on double dating, where you are in a relationship,
but you're not,
and you're having another entanglement with someone else. That's cheating. Possibly there is no intimacy, physical intimacy involved, but for the fact that your mind is on someone else, you promise this person, I love you and you're the only love of my life, but you have another person out there, it means you're cheating. It could also be that you're always, you know, chatting with people online, telling them how beautiful and how loving they are. instead of saying the same to the person.
It might not be, it might not also be that they're telling them how lovely they are, but when you have to spend more time communicating with someone else
in
and
in an
making,
intimate way, that's what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
That becomes a point of cheating. And so many people do that, you know, and they feel there's nothing wrong with it unless we go into the physical element of it. It tells you that there is something fundamentally not right in the relationship.
There's a disconnection.
Yes. There's something not fundamentally right in the relationship that needs to be sorted out. It could be something wrong with the person who is cheating. Maybe the person is not mature enough. The person has some conception about relationship that need to be addressed. Or the person is not someone with good character. Because some people are naturally into double dealing and all of those. They want to cheat even though they want to be here and there. So, or there's something not right with the relationship itself.
Let me also add here that, you know, some people enjoy the attention. Some people love that attention in a relationship, and they have this mindset that, you know, if I am needed by multiple people, then that sort of fuels their ego, you know, their sense of worth, exactly, their self-worth. And that in itself could be a misconception that needs to be addressed. You know, that doesn't necessarily mean that your self-worth, you know, it's valuable because you're needed by multiple people. And this could be the reason why people tend to be in multiple relationship, although maybe not physically, but emotionally entangled in multiple relationship. So you need to understand the underlying factor. What exactly about this person? Because for different people, it could be different things. And it's really important that you delve into the issues around the disconnection. So why are you disconnected? Because if somebody else is cheating, in quote, on you in a relationship and not committed to you, then they are disconnected from you.
They might also be emotionally connected.
Okay.
But emotionally connected with other people as well. So some people have mastered that act of being here and there. But then the question is, does this person really love you? If, from my point of view, if I love someone, I am 100% in for that person.
Not everybody's like you.
But that's what it should be. That's what love should be. If we define love as being your best, being committed to someone, making a choice, because there are so many women out there. Should I now leave the one that I say and I profess to love, the one I love, and then be having an entanglement with someone out there? That's not right. So if that character element is there, it's a pointer that there is a red flag that needs to be addressed.
And I think there has to be a conversation. You need to sit down, and you cannot afford to assume or make assumptions or, you know, judge this individual. You really need to sit down and talk about it to unpack what the underlying issues are. So if it's something that has to do with their personality, if it's something that has to do with a misconception, whatever it is, or if maybe it might be something that has to do with you as a person. It could be that the person already feels emotionally disconnected from you, and maybe is not bold enough to accept it, but is just tagging along. So it is really important that you have that sit-down conversation to talk about, look, I don't know why I feel this way. I don't know where this relationship is going, but it's really important that we talk about it. And you have to be honest about it and ask the questions, the real questions, the tough questions. Because sometimes when you get into that, you're not really in that zone where you want to address it honestly. And I think it's really important if you have to move forward in that relationship.
So to summarize it from my point of view, the person's love is questionable. If I say I love you and I'm cheating on you, whether a man or a woman, that love is questionable.
Absolutely. And please, if you're watching, let us know. Give us some comments. Give us some feedback on the chat. It's really, really important that we have that coming as well. Okay, so now let's address the third question. I think we have a third question here. And that is the question around calling.
This question keeps coming.
Calling. Am I? It says, I am the only one calling her on the phone. If I do not get in touch with her, we rarely talk. What do I do? And there are so many people in this situation, and they are really like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about this. So this is not new.
Maybe we can also ask those watching. I can see people are watching. What do you think this person needs to do if the communication is not consistent, it's not there? What should be the response? Should I walk away, or what do I do? Okay.
Yeah, so we would. I know sometimes it takes a bit of time for people to type up their response, but hopefully we'll pick that up as we go along. So communication, I would say, is the lifeblood of any relationship, right? Relationship thrives on communication. I cannot assume what he is thinking. And I can't assume what you're thinking. So we should be able to communicate.
I want to ask you a question before you go into talking about communication.
Yeah.
Is it possible that you could love someone, you really love someone, and you're finding it difficult to communicate with this person?
Wow.
Is it possible?
It is possible, depending on where they are.
Okay, can we look at some of those factors that could make someone not to communicate, where you rarely talk with this person? With the life we have now, with social media, with internet access, with phone call, WhatsApp, and all of those, you're not communicating. And you're not also explaining why you're not communicating.
I would say there are factors why the person might not explain why. But let me start with communication in itself. Anytime someone gets to a point in a relationship where they are not communicating, there's something off. I'll just be honest with you.
So why
there's something off? There's something off. Maybe that person is already reconsidering the relationship. That's number one. Okay. So maybe the person is at a point where this relationship is not making sense to me, or they're no longer interested in the relationship and may not be able to speak up about that relationship. So they're no longer invested in that relationship.
What if is a situation? Let's paint the picture now, because you see this issue. There are so many people in it. I've received so many questions asking, how do we do this and all of those in terms of this question. Now let's look at it. Okay, the person is in an environment where the person is so busy with work, maybe in school, so busy with schoolwork. There is no opportunity to stay in touch over and over and over again. Or is it because, this person naturally is not good at initiating that conversation? What could that be?
If you're in love with someone, you would talk to that person. You would want to spend time. I remember. Okay, let's talk about ourselves a bit. Like before now.
Before we got married.
Like we were at a point where literally we would spend time on the phone. I remember those days where it was way back in Nigeria, and there was this whole MTN midnight call that was it free at the time? It was free to call from midnight
till
early hours of the morning.
4 a.m. or 5 a.m.
Absolutely. So in order for us to save costs, we had to call at that time. And I can still remember you calling me and you're like, I'm dozing off. You said to me, oh, you're dozing off. I said, no, I'm not dozing off. I'm awake. I can still remember sleeping off and just finding my phone in my hands in the morning. What I'm trying to say here in essence is, look, if you are in love with someone, you would want to keep talking with that person. It doesn't matter even if you're distance, if you have distance between you. Now with the new age where we are with social media, with WhatsApp calls, with different things, there are different options right now. Communication should not be a thing. Like literally texting, hello, I'm awake, how are you, how's your day, even if that person is a busy person, there's always a time that you have like a kind of a downtime in your day. It could be a break time. You could be able to check on someone. Okay, how do you even explain that this person hasn't called you? You can't even place where this individual is for the full day, for a full week. That in itself, I would say there's already a problem in that relationship.
You're right, 100%. But there are also people who feel that they are entitled to be called. Oh. They are entitled to receive. Because if you have a mindset, for instance, a lady, absolutely, you have a mindset that you should be the one that a man should always call you. Yeah. He should be chasing you around because you're this pretty queen that everyone
and
wants.
by the way, there are men that think like that as well.
Yeah, I understand you, but I'm using a woman now because the question is from a man. You might be waiting. You might actually be angry with the guy if 1 day, 2 days he's not calling and you're not calling back. So you're saying, but why have you not called me? Because you think he needs to call you. In that sense, the problem is not that you don't love. It's just that you have a mindset that you should be the one to receive communication.
Absolutely.
Okay? But
absolutely,
if we look at it holistically, if you really, really genuinely love someone, it is expected that you have that desire to stay in touch with the person, because without communication, without you guys talking about key elements of this relationship, planning how your life is going to be in the future, it's going to die.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me know your comments. I know there are a few reactions to the question that we just asked, and there are a few, well, reactions. They were not really comments,
okay,
but there are a few reactions on the chat, which is great.
When you talked about us talking.
Yeah, talking and talking and talking. I mean, because you know what? I can't get over the fact that some people are in a relationship. And, you know, sometimes I say, if you've gotten to that point where you're no longer able to communicate, what are you doing then? You know, if you're not, because you're not even yet in a marriage and you're having issues with communication, that relationship is just going to die. So it's best to help yourselves and say, you know what, let's try and figure things out. Really important that we
just as you're talking, I just remember that sometimes people don't communicate because of the impact of communication on them, their emotional well-being. It's possible that each time you guys communicate, there's always conflict.
Absolutely.
There's always fight. And maybe this person wants sanity of mind. He or she wants to avoid communication. But if this is not the case, and it's a case of the unwillingness to communicate, it's a sign that something is not right.
Absolutely.
And for you to move the relationship forward, because intimacy, they say, is into me you see.
Absolutely.
You cannot see what's in this person if you don't share. So you have to be vulnerable, you have to be open, you have to communicate, you have to share. Okay? Even if you're not, there are no agenda for the interaction, you just have to stay in touch, because that's what makes relationship a beautiful thing.
Yeah, let me also add, because as you were speaking, I kind of got a point to add to this. Sometimes people have been through a lot in their life,
previous relationship as well,
and communicating sometimes for them is them opening themselves up. So they get to the point where they are being vulnerable with this person, and they don't want to be hurt. So they try to shield, they try to close up. So they're not communicating as effectively as they should, because they don't want a situation whereby tomorrow, if this doesn't pan out, then at least I know I haven't given out a part of myself to someone. I haven't told people some things that I wouldn't want to, you know, for others to know. And I feel that people are just shielding themselves because they don't want to be vulnerable. So this could be the reason. And that's why I said it is really important that you have a sit-down conversation and understand, you know, the underlying factors and the reasons why the person is not forthcoming in terms of communication. I think it's really important to address that. Okay, so I've got another question here. And this is a question that we received from someone who said
he's always hiding.
He's always hiding.
From me. He's not transparent with me.
Is this a red flag? Yeah, that was the question we got.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah, well, it is a tricky one, but we're going to talk about that. And please, guys, let me know what you think about this question. So we just received that question and we felt, okay, we're going to address this. Someone is constantly hiding their phone, constantly being secretive.
By the way, this happens not just for, it's not, it doesn't even happen just for
Singles.
people.
Yeah, I want to
For
say
married people, some people can never.
don't touch.
My phone is my phone. I don't care what you do with your phone, but this is my phone. It's like my wife and I now, we password our phones, and I say to you, don't ever touch my phone. Whatever I do, my phone
is my business.
If I'm making call with someone and the voice sounds like the voice of a lady, don't ask questions.
Yeah.
It's me, it's my life.
Yeah.
What do you have to say?
Wow. It can't be your life. You're in a relationship with me. It's our life. So you have to share whatever information.
But am I supposed to share my phone with you?
Oh.
Are you supposed to have access to my phone?
Well, the thing, I won't go snooping on your phone.
I'm not saying that, but should you have access to my phone?
I should. I mean, you have access to me, don't you?
I have access to you.
You have access to my body. You have access to everything about me. So why your phone? Your phone is a thing. I have access to that thing.
What if is my privacy?
Oh no, privacy. What else? We are naked and not ashamed. So there is nothing in that phone that you cannot share with me. And I want to say, when these things happen in relationship, now let's be serious. Let's be serious. When these things happen in relationship, there is something happening. There's something fishy.
I don't agree with you in all circumstances because you know why? Some people have a mindset that
their boundaries.
Yes, even though we are married, we must have boundaries.
This is a boundary.
You'll be surprised. Some people, some couples don't sleep in the same room, the same bed. Yeah. They don't shower together.
Well, that's debatable because
they keep their things separately. Yep. You keep your thing, I keep my thing.
Yep.
It depends on the structure,
the dynamics
of that relationship and how the person is wired. Okay. But like you're saying, it's not the ideal thing.
It's not. It's not. I mean, when people get to a point where they begin to shield information, and for this to be an issue, I don't think we're talking about it just on the grounds that this individual is trying to respect somebody else's privacy and all of that. So when somebody begins to say, oh, he's hiding his phone, there is something that is being protected on the phone. And I think that is why this question came up. So there is a reason why he's hiding this. And this individual is curious about understanding what exactly is being hidden on the phone. And that's why they are like giving towards wanting to know more about what's on the phone. So I'd say this creates a lot of issues. It also speaks to issues around trust.
Definitely.
Because I personally, I don't think, and maybe that's because you have been very open with everything. You've been very open in the relationship. So I didn't have any reason to doubt or any reason to really want to investigate and go on your phone to check anything. I don't think I've ever had to do that. But again, it depends on the dynamics of the relationship. I think this is really important. And it's a conversation to be had in a relationship. So some people say, oh, well, this is my boundary. And some people have a mentality about, boundaries in relationship. So even though I'm in a relationship, an intimate relationship with you, or I'm hoping to get into an intimate relationship with you because we're still at that process trying to figure ourselves out, I don't want you getting on my stuff. And there might be reasons for that, okay? And it's something that you need to have conversations about. But I think this question is basically from someone who feels there is something dodgy going on in that relationship.
Yeah, I think for single people, obviously, if you're single and you're not married to this person, there is that boundary. Everyone should have an extent to which you can access the other person's private stuff like phone, because you're not married to the person. I agree with that, because what if you know something and eventually it doesn't happen? That's a question for married people to talk about in terms of should we have full access or not. But before marriage, it's optional. There is definitely room for boundaries. Yeah. But when the hiding of phone is because that you're hiding something. There is something fishy. There is secrecy around it. Then it brings us to the question of, do we trust this person? Do we trust each other? Does this person have secrets the person is hiding that I need to know in order to have a good relationship tomorrow? If what you guys are looking out for is a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
So you now have to think about character issues.
Mm.
How is this person's past? Is this person protecting himself from me having access, not necessarily because he's hiding something, but because he has an experience in the past that he doesn't. What I mean by experience
Underlying
is
issues.
maybe
Yeah.
there is the previous relationship, the person was exposed to sharing so much, and now it didn't work out. The person wants to protect himself. So those are the questions you have to ask. But if the person is hiding and you know for sure that this is fishy, then it calls for, let's know what is going on.
Yeah, let's have a conversation about it. Because like you said, this speaks to underlying issues. And until you're married, like, there can't be full disclosure.
Definitely.
And I must say that there can't be. So if there are certain things you cannot expect from somebody you're just you're dating, for instance, and you're expecting that the person is going to give you access to their password, give you access to everything, like full disclosure. No, because you're not at that point where you are now, for the long haul. And maybe, like you said, there might be some underlying issues which is causing that person to feel like there's something is hiding. Because again, this is all down to perception and how you're interpreting, that person being protective of their phone may not necessarily mean that that person is hiding anything. But it might just be that this person is not comfortable with you being in that space, for instance. So if there are things that you feel that they are red flags, those things should be discussed, beyond the phones and all of those things should be discussed. If there are issues around trusts, those things should be addressed. And I think this is a conversation to be had beyond the phone, because the phone is just one way. That
is a symptom to
the main issue. Yeah.
But then if this is a marital relationship we're looking at, then I think there's a problem somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe even if this person started with not having access to your phone, and now you want to have access, or he wants to have access to your phone. If you have nothing to hide, you should be open-minded. That's how I look at it. Someone may say that, well, that's you. But the point is, there should not be any form of secrecy. There should be transparency. There should be vulnerability. There should be openness, because that's what marriage is about. But if you're not getting that, there is a level of intimacy you cannot have with your spouse until you get to the point where you even if there are things in the past that you feel these things are not okay, you didn't like them, you can as well bring them on board, clear the air, and have a clean slate so you can enjoy your marriage and have the best, beautiful,
relationship,
loving relationship, I would say.
Yeah, so I don't know if we've addressed some of the questions. And I know I want to thank every single one of you who have stayed up to this point. Just let us know, because we started off looking at a couple of questions. If you're just joining, please, find time to play back. We would leave this on our YouTube channel. If you're just joining now and maybe you missed some of the questions, this was just basically to address some of the issues that single people, our single audience, have told us or asked us about relationship and love. And we started off addressing a couple of them, and we were hoping that we're going to get more questions as well coming through. So hopefully we've been able to address them. But maybe if you are looking at some of these questions, you might want to say, okay, I kind of needed more explanation on some of the questions. Please feel free to ask us. I don't know if you...
I thought we could address one more question if you're happy with that. One of the questions is, how do I test love? How do I test love? How do I test that?
How am I sure?
Yes, how do I test this love to ensure that
this is real?
It's going to last for a long time.
How do you test love? I think there are tests of love.
Definitely.
We've done lots of videos on tests of love. tests of disagreements. I think that's the big one.
You want to talk a bit about
I want to talk a bit because some people are in a relationship and they say, oh, this guy is so nice. He's never said any, he's never angry, he's never
never had any
we've never had any issue. It's been a very wonderful, relationship. Wow, I would say that your relationship hasn't quite, gone through that test. And every relationship, I think, should go through the test of disagreement because people are not always 100%. I mean, even as married people, we are not always 100%. That doesn't mean that we are constantly like, yeah, at each other. But the thing is, there is a point where you disagree with the other person. You just disagree. And you really need to know, how does this person react when they're not in agreement, or when whatever is said by that individual, I'm not into that. Some people, the way they disagree could be very, 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 very graphic. And you need to know if it's something that you can
cope with.
Really important, because some people, the way they disagree, you haven't experienced it before. For example, when I see people who disagree and they're like smashing things, that's something that I cannot relate to, because I don't know how someone can disagree that way, to that extent. And that's because I've never experienced it, and that's not something I've been wired, or that's not how I'm wired. So it is really important that you understand what is this person's extremity in terms of disagreement. So if this person is not something you want, then you know that, oh, this is likely it's going to be a massive, massive problem in our relationship. And some people can go days, weeks, keeping malice, not even speaking to the other person. Some people are okay with it, don't see any problem with it. But for me, it's like it's weird. I don't know how people can do that. So you really need to understand, what is the extent, and how can this person disagree, and how does this person behave? What's their reaction like, whether it's male or female? How do they behave when they disagree with the other person? So that's, I think, one way you can test love. You can ensure that this love is something that, yeah, I can cope with, I can deal with. So it's really important. The other one, I think, is the test of time.
Yeah, I think if we start talking about test of
test
love,
of time,
we will spend the rest of today talking about them. And what we want to say to you is, we are going to have another session where we'll have enough time to discuss different tests of love. Because for us, love is like gold. Gold would always go through the fire, refining, they call it furnace, until it becomes purified. Maybe the stage of your love is at that crude stage now, but you have to put in the work. You have to make it happen. You have to intentionally remove all the things that are like distractions, the negative things, those things that would clock
inhibitors.
Yes, the inhibitors of this beautiful love experience that you are looking forward to. And it's something you have to do. Doing it involves growing, becoming the best you, because your best you now may not be good enough for 10 years time.
Absolutely.
So once you have that mindset that I am always improving myself to be the best version of me, in order to serve and in order to do the best for this guy or this lady, you're in for a long haul in terms of your relationship. We are telling you for free. This is our secret. We keep improving ourselves. This is not the best us that you will see the next 10 years.
Absolutely.
It's a journey. We keep working on ourselves because we know love is beautiful and we are enjoying it. We want it to last. We want to keep it going. So when we say we're in love, we need help. And that help is what we are working on.
Absolutely.
We improve ourselves because I want to serve her the best. I want to love her for the rest of my life. And it's not just in saying it, but it's in being the best in order to do the best for her.
Yeah. And I want to say, just to wrap up, single ladies out there, look, you have to decide who you want to love. And once you've chosen that person, you have to accept a total package. And that's why it's really important that you look before you
leap.
Before you engage. You really need to look before you engage, because you don't want to get to a point where you feel like, oh my goodness, what have I done?
I get myself into?
And the same for the men as well. So I'm not just talking about the ladies, for the same for the men. you really, really need to be important. Sorry, you really need to be intentional about, your search for love, and just be sure that this is somebody that you want to be committed for the long haul, not the temporary infatuation, attraction. It has to be for the long haul. Really important. And I want to say thank you. Thank you, guys. You're just looking at me.
I wanted to say something. Yes, yeah. I'm always in love.
Yeah.
You can see the radiance of love. I'm in love, and I want to keep staying in love. Not just being committed to it, but working on having that passionate feeling of love that expresses my commitment to you.
Amen.
For the rest of my life. I
said amen as if we're praying. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Okay. So please, thank you all for coming. It's been nice. It's been an amazing conversation, I must say. And let us know your comments on the chat. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. And I hope you found some value from what we discussed. Hopefully, some of you would give us some feedback, because it's great to hear some feedback from our audience as well. So it's been amazing to be on here. And if you're new on our channel and you forgot to hit the subscribe button, please, now is the time to do it. And if you can also click the bell next to it so you know when we put content out, that would be amazing. And please do share this with people, would find value from the content, especially for the single folks out there. Just share that the video with them. And we hope to see you guys soon. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Adebomi, for joining Foundation for Family Affairs. You guys are amazing. You rock. Thank you so much for joining as well. And it's great to have been here. And I would see you all on the next one.
Before we go, we have an event for next week, Saturday.
Okay. Yes, we do. So please keep an eye on our YouTube channel. We would have an event next week, Saturday. We would have a special guest coming. Thank you for reminding me. And we would communicate that. And also on all our social media platforms, we'll put that out. Just keep an eye on that. Have a fantastic weekend. Chillax. Bye-bye.